How did baby boomers get rich? They only account for 20% of the population, but they hold 52% of the wealth in America. They must have done something right. Today we're going over the article, 10 Baby Boomer Financial Habits Gen Z Should Embrace for a Brighter Future. If you're new around here, welcome. I'm Elena. If you haven't already, please like this video and subscribe to this channel so that you don't miss what's coming next. So if you're like me, you're probably wondering, how old is a baby boomer? So I had to look this up too, but they would be between the ages of 60 and 78. So if you're a millennial like me, your parents might be about that age. So the first habit for Gen Z to adapt to be more like baby boomers would be to live within your means. We've heard this a million times. It's kind of interesting to consider how it was different for baby boomers to live within their means as opposed to what it's like for millennials and Gen Z to live within their means now. So for a lot of the time when these baby boomers were growing up, the internet was not a thing. They didn't have Facebook or Instagram or the 500 ads we see every single day. Of course, it's still totally possible to live within your means, but I feel like it's a whole different mental game. So when a baby boomer is saying, just don't spend more money than you make, but they spend the first 30 years of their lives not being influenced in the same way by advertising that we are. And when you didn't grow up with something, it just affects you different. Like, I'm old enough that I didn't grow up with smartphones or texting, and I think that means a lot of things for me that aren't true for Gen Z and Alpha. So technology and texting and instant communication has not always been the norm for me because that's not how I grew up and that's not how my peers grew up. So it just gives me a different perspective on life, I think. 2, the art of budgeting. I think it's kind of hilarious that they're calling it the art of budgeting. It makes it sound like so much more fun or cool or something. We might as well think of it as an art though, because it really separates those who save and invest and have an intentional plan for their life and their money from those who spend all the money that they make and then end up with no retirement. So back in the day, there were not as many cool ways to budget. We have apps now, we have programs, we have Excel, we have paper. So there's so many options that could fit so many different personalities. We don't have to be like, well, that style doesn't fit me. There's so many other options. We just have to do the budgeting. 3, they saved religiously. It didn't matter what was going on in the world, what kind of political climate there was, they were saving. There will always be ups and downs in life. I mean, the only thing we can really count on is that things will be crazy and things will change, and taxes. So I think this is a really good one. We just need to get in the habit of saving and investing regularly and not just put it off for another time, a better time, a cheaper time, when rent goes down, when house prices go down, when interest rates go down, whatever it is that we want to wait for. There's always going to be uncertainty in life, and it's, never a good time to start investing. That ties perfectly into number 4, investing early and often. And this has gotten so much easier. There's no reason we can't take advantage of all the easy ways there are to invest. We don't have to go anywhere. We don't have to talk to anyone. We can go on Vanguard or Fidelity and open up our own investment account and then set up automatic transfers from our bank without talking to a single human being. So basically, there's like no excuse to not do this, especially now. And there's so much free information about how to invest. It's almost as though there's no excuse not to. But that could also be contributing to analysis paralysis. There's too many options. There's too many ways to do it. There's too much information. Or you could start feeling like, I need to know all the things that there are to know or watch the million hours about investing that there are on YouTube. No, you just got to get started. Prioritize retirement savings. Now, a big advantage that baby boomers have over us millennials and Gen Z is that they often had pensions through their work. Now, this is one of those good old day moments. So people my parents' age might have a pension, and these are sweet. But I haven't heard of anyone our age getting a pension. This means that planning for retirement and saving for retirement is so much more important for us now because we don't have that pension to fall back on. Another huge motivator for me to set myself up for retirement is my kids. I don't want them to have to take on the burden of affording my retirement or my health care or my long-term care. If I can plan well and save and invest now, I can take all that that burden off their shoulders. 6, avoiding debt. Now, I don't want to give us millennials any excuses, but debt is so much more readily available to us, like around every single corner. If you are ordering something off a website, they're like, would you like to make 4 payments instead? Would you like to sign up for this card? Every time you go to Old Navy, they ask you if you'd like a credit card, and then you could save money right now. There's so many more moments to resist debt, and things have gotten so much more expensive. Like take college, for example. So when my dad was going to college, he worked all summer at a minimum wage job, and then he could pay for the entire college school year. Now, if you want to go to college in any timely fashion and graduate before you're 40, you're probably looking at student loans. Now, there's a lot of ways to reduce that burden and think strategically about that, but it's not a slam dunk anymore to just have a side job and work your way through school. I know people still talk about doing college 100% debt free, but when I was going to college, it was a lot of work and I didn't have enough time to work 80 hours a week. Then I never would have slept. 7, valuing financial education. I know this is on the list, but I'm super curious to talk to baby boomers and see if this is important to them. Of course, I think some baby boomers are the total research nerd types, but I'm sure that's not true for everyone. Do you see baby boomers being really meticulous researchers? 8, embrace frugality. It says in the article, quote, frugality was not about being cheap for baby boomers, but about maximizing value. I am all about thoughtful spending decisions. I don't want to be driven by fear that there's not going to be enough, but I also don't want to be thinking I need new clothes every single season. I'm thinking about how can I buy something that's going to last me more than one season, more than 1 year, and that saves money in the long run. I think this is also different for millennials and Gen Z as fast fashion has become so much more of a thing. Like when some of our parents were buying clothes, there weren't as many options, but they were more high quality so that they would last longer. So they kind of just got used to that. But now it's like, okay, I could buy a $20 sweater, but maybe it'll only last me 6 months. But it was also only $20, so do I really care? But if you didn't even have that option, like this was the $70 sweater and it was gonna last you a few years, you'd be like, well, this is how you shop and this is how much it costs. You just have fewer items and they're of a higher quality. Do you think fast fashion affects how you spend money? 9, building multiple streams of income. I think for me, this looks like not having all my eggs in the same basket. So maybe we've got our 401k over here, and then we have our Roth IRA, and then we have some rental income, and then we have some W-2 income, and then we have some side hustle income, and then we have some small business income, so that not everything is coming from one source, so that we're not quite so dependent on that. I honestly don't see this as often in baby boomers. Maybe they have different retirement accounts, or they have their pension and their 401k and their Roth IRA, but not necessarily the same side hustle culture that we have going now. 10, planning for the unexpected. Now, I am all about being a planner. I'd rather overthink a little bit now so that I am protected later. That means insurance, the emergency fund, and that financial plan that I know that I'm working towards. What does planning for the unexpected look like for you? I hope you enjoyed this video and maybe learned a little bit of something along the way. If you haven't already, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, and I hope to see you in the next one real soon. Bye for now.